Well, I've already shared this point once a couple of weeks ago, but they asked me to come back and do it again for the official celebration. So this is called Ode to My Pastor. My pastor is a sin-stomping ninja warrior. Archangel Michael could have trained my pastor. Paul once described 6 characteristics with which all believers should clothe themselves: compassion, kindness, patience, gentleness, humility, and forgiveness. My pastor personifies them all. He's kind even in anger. He's compassionate even when wronged. He's patient even when rushed. Gentle when you're hurt. And he always forgives, no matter what. My pastor is one of the smartest and wisest men I've ever known, yet far too humble to even think that about himself, much less ever say it. My pastor is as encouraging as Tony Robbins, bold as Chuck Yeager, and smart as Ravi Zacharias. My pastor can lift his congregation up so high, they have to look down to see heaven. In a world full of preachers who would rather be popular than faithful, my pastor would rather be faithful than popular. He would rather be loved by God and judged by the world than loved by the world and judged by God. My pastor is a shepherd trained by the shepherd of shepherds, boldly and unapologetically leading his flock to the gates of heaven. I've often said, I'm not the man I ought to be, but thank God I'm not the man I used to be. When I look at my pastor, I see the man he ought to be and the kind of man I want to be. One day, my pastor will stand before God, and God will simply smile and say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." My pastor is the reason I choose this church over any other that might have more to offer, because no matter what they have, the one thing they don't have is my pastor. Not done. As Bob pointed out earlier, no celebration honoring somebody is complete without a good roast. And being the entertainer that I am, I intend to make this a proper celebration. So here we go. I wrote that, Kenny is kind even in anger. Seriously, have you ever seen this guy when he's angry? He's about as threatening as Mary Poppins. In fact, if you ever struck him on his cheek, he would probably summon his inner Oliver Twist and say, "Please, sir, may I have another?" And I wrote that he is a shepherd trained by the shepherd of shepherds. I meant that quite literally. I mean, you really were in the beginning, weren't you, Paul? My apologies. Kenny, that's where you're going by now. We'll keep the Paul thing between you and me, huh? All jokes aside, Kenny, you are a great man and a great pastor. Any congregation anywhere could not hope for a better pastor. When we all get to heaven, you will easily be in God's Hall of Fame. You are the Nolan Ryan, Roger Staubach, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, and Hulk Hogan of pastors. Thank you for your service.